Illinois beat Kansas and NIU beat Notre Dame this weekend. Should those two teams play each other?
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Illini. Thank you for making us your first listen every single day. Simple reminder, we are free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Sunny Verma. You can find me at IIlini and you can find me at the Sunny V. First off, before we get started with the show, I want to thank you all. We more than doubled our audio downloads over the weekend, and we've officially hit 1,100 subscribers on YouTube, all because of you guys. Thank you so much. This channel is growing at paces that were unforeseen by everyone, including myself and the Locked On Network. But again, that just tells you that the Illini fan base is super passionate. If you want to help support the show, it doesn't cost you guys anything. Just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, find me on the audio download and download me from over there. And vice versa, if you're on the audio side. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Again, it helps us out, and that's what keeps helping this channel grow. Today's episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Go to 5hourenergy.com and use promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. Okay, big weekend for the Illini. Obviously, that victory, 23-17 victory over the Kansas Jayhawks. A lot of you joined me for the live on Saturday night, which I appreciate. Almost 100 of you tuned into the first ever live Locked On Illini, which I want to do more often than not, especially because I got such fantastic feedback and it was nice interacting with a lot of you immediately after the game. Let me know in the comments if you like the live, if you want me to continue doing it. The Illinois game, let's talk about that a little bit. Illinois now goes to 2-0 with that upset win over then number 19 Kansas. And a lot of people have asked me if my outlook on the season has changed. Obviously, those of you who are my everydayers, shout out to you guys, know that I projected the Illini to win 7 games. And I was kind of on the higher end when it comes to projecting Illini win totals. 7 wins, and keep in mind that the Kansas game I had dubbed as a loss. But now we're 2 games in. Granted, that's not a huge sample, but Eastern Illinois is a quality FCS team, and Kansas is one of the better teams in the Big 12, one of those that's projected to potentially win the conference. So I do have some tape to look over. Now, so I got to watch the game over again, and I do have some questions. If Illinois was in the Big 12, where would they finish? And also, if Kansas were in the Big 10, where would they project to finish? The answer to those questions is pretty important, and that's going to kind of decide how important of a victory that this Illinois game really was on Saturday. So, season outlook. As I said, I had us at 7 games, losing the Kansas game. So does that mean that I'm ready to raise my season outlook win total? I don't think I'm quite ready yet. And there's plenty of reasons. I had us losing to Kansas, but beating Nebraska. Any of you guys paying attention saw that a lot of you were watching the Illini game on Saturday night, but coincided with the Illini game was the Nebraska and Colorado game. And that game was a blow up from the beginning. I think Nebraska at one point was up 21-0 or 26-0. It was just a complete beatdown of the Colorado Buffaloes and Deion Sanders. And it was a game that has a lot of Nebraska folks talking. And not just Nebraska folks. You're having college football people mention the Huskers as a dark horse playoff contender. The Nebraska Huskers. Well, I had Illinois defeating Nebraska in week 4 in my projections. Do I feel confident about that one? I don't think my confidence level has changed up or down. Dylan Raiola is the real deal. He's a really good young quarterback. And Matt Rule, I think, is one of the 5 best coaches in the Big Ten easily. The year 2 jump under Matt Rule is real. Well, all those may be true, but Dylan Raiola is still a freshman. And from what I saw of the Illini defense against Kansas, against a very good quarterback in Jalen Daniels, against a very good offense that the Jayhawks have, I do think that there is an opportunity that Dylan Raiola may have a bad game, may have a bad half. And with our defense and with our running game and offensive line, I think that's all it could take. We continue to take away the football on the defensive side. I think I saw that we were tied for first in the entire nation through 2 games in takeaways. If we're able to get 1 or 2 early against Nebraska and get that energy out of Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, well, then Illinois can start playing Brett Bielema ball. We can preserve the clock. We can use Caden Fagan. We can use Aiden Lawfrey, who, by the way, I have not given up on. And we can use the new hotshot Khalil Valentine, which everyone's talking about. Luke Altmaier had a couple issues in that Kansas game, which we talked about in the post-game report, and we'll definitely talk about more in this upcoming week. But I'm still as confident in my calling him a top 7-8 quarterback in the conference as I've ever been. And I think everyone else is kind of opening up their eyes to Luke as well. For me, the biggest enemy Luke Altmaier has is Luke Altmaier. He's just got to trust himself. He's got to make the throws. Every time he forced a throw and let the wide receiver make the catch, guess what? The wide receiver made the catch. So I still think a lot of other people are going to say, Nebraska might be a strong favorite in that game. Though, don't get me wrong, Illinois is getting some buzz. The new top 25 rankings came out, and Illinois was just outside the top 25 at 26. I believe we got 101 votes. So, if you think about it, if Illinois takes care of business against Central Michigan this upcoming week, that game the following week is going to be a top 25 matchup. The Nebraska Huskers against the Illinois Fighting Illini. I believe that's a Friday night game. And with it being a Friday night primetime game, you're talking about a game that almost the entire college football world is going to be watching. Let's be honest, not for the Illini. They'll be watching it to watch Dylan Raiola. They'll be watching it to watch this new look Nebraska Huskers. A lot of people are going to be seeing the Nebraska Huskers for the first time. But that might be the perfect opportunity for Brett Bielema and the Fighting Illini to introduce themselves to the rest of the world. I've talked about how Nebraska hasn't been to a bowl game since 2015. That's a very long time. And the expectations for the program right now, at least through week 2, and I'm assuming they're going to win week 3, and that's going to be an undefeated matchup on Friday night. So what's going to happen? The lights are going to be shining bright in Lincoln. Everyone's going to be talking about Nebraska and are they a contender in the Big Ten? That's a lot of pressure for a program that hasn't been to a bowl game since 2015. Is Matt Rule capable of coaching a team to 6 straight wins right off the bat in the season, becoming a bowl eligible team? Sure. Again, he's one of the better coaches in the entire country. He's easily an elite program builder. He's proven it. But that's still a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure combined with a rookie quarterback tells me that Illinois is going to have every opportunity in the world to make that a victory. Will we be favored? No. Do I think we're going to win that game now? No. And again, I know some of you don't like me saying that. Someone actually in my comments in my season preview, Kansas, someone in the comment of my Kansas preview basically said that, hey, I'm an Illini channel and I picked Kansas to win. How dare I? And they said they blocked my channel. I'm not sure why that would be the case. If I'm just pure Illini propaganda, I don't think that would be fun for you guys. I want you to know that every time you watch this show, I'm being honest. I'm giving my honest opinion. Sometimes they're very positive. Sometimes not so much. Most of you who watch that, most of you who are paying attention to my build-up for this Kansas game know that as I got closer to the game, I was feeling more and more optimistic about winning that game. I didn't change my official prediction because I wanted the defense and Aaron Henry to prove it to me. But you know what? They proved it to me. I think Illinois is a lot better than people give them credit for, and I'm glad that they're starting to be noticed. Am I ready to jump on my 7-game win projection? I don't think so as of now. Again, that Nebraska game, I think is still a coin flip on Nebraska's side. I think there'll probably be at least a touchdown, if not more favorites, knowing the game is in Lincoln. But you know what? Michigan's looking a little more vulnerable right now. Granted, that was one of my upsets of the year, one of my bold predictions. But you know what else is kind of looking a little bit more vulnerable? The Oregon Ducks. Oregon again squeaked by Boise State late Saturday night. And that was after barely getting by Idaho in week 1. Are those two opportunities that Illinois possibly has to come out victorious? Sure. We'll see. We'll see how the Illini will continue to build week by week, because that's important. You want to be sure that this team gets better every single week. And if they do, that's when people are really going to start noticing. Five-Hour Energy fixes tired fast. Whether you have a long list to do for work or a list of DIY projects to tackle at home, take a 5-Hour Energy shot so you can check everything off your list. If you're like me, you always have a large list of projects for the home. When you get your supplies for your project, do not forget the most essential supply, which is a 5-Hour Energy shot. With 0 sugar and a convenient portable size, it's a perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. The 5-Hour Energy website has flavors galore like watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry, and more. There's a flavor for everyone. Try them all. On the site, you even have the option to build your own 12 or 24 pack. You choose the flavor and get it delivered directly to your house. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5-Hour Energy product today, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only available until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. As much as we're celebrating the Illini victory over the Kansas Jayhawks, the big story of this past weekend was the Northern Illinois Huskies taking down, I believe, the number 5 Notre Dame Fighting Irish, 16-14 in South Bend. Not only did NIU defeat Notre Dame, but Notre Dame paid NIU $1.4 million just to get beat by them. College football is a rough sport. Obviously, this was an interesting topic that a couple of group chats of mine started up. Should NIU and the Fighting Illini start up a series again between the two programs? They played 4 times previously. The Illini have won all 4. All 4 times the games were in Champaign in 1992. Illinois won 30-14. In 1994, Illinois won 34-10. Next 2 games were a lot closer. In 2001, Illinois won 17-12. And in 2010, Illinois won 28-22. So with NIU looking like they're a promising program, they're ranked number 25 in the new top 25, which again is 1 spot higher than our Fighting Illini. Should the Huskies and the Illini start a series? Would that be good for college football? Would that be good for the state of Illinois? And most importantly, would that be good for Illinois? Let me answer the first 2. I think college football is losing some of the purity, some of what we all love about the sport, the rivalry aspect. Obviously, money has taken over the sport. And for that reason, a game between the Illini and the Huskies would probably be good for the sport. A lot of you are Illini fans who have Husky friends who might be alums from NIU. That trash talk back and forth for that week is always a good time. It reminds you, especially a program like Illinois, which I know a lot of people don't like me saying this, but I really don't think that the Illini have a true rival when it comes to college football. We try to be, but we're nobody else's biggest rival, except for Northwestern, sure. But let's be honest, even Northwestern folks don't pay attention to Northwestern. The Illini are a passionate group. There's no passionate Northwestern Wildcats groups out there. So anytime you start up an interstate rivalry, the banter back and forth is going to be one that's worth it. It makes the sport fun. Sure, we just played Eastern Illinois in week 1, but Eastern Illinois is FCS. Obviously, that's a completely different level. NIU has had their stretches where they're a very good football team. We all remember names like Garrett Wolf, who at one point was receiving Heisman talk. NIU has been a contender in the MAC conference. There's really only 3 top-level football teams in the state of Illinois. That's the University of Illinois, that's Northwestern, and then 1 tier down is the Northern Illinois Huskies. But there are absolutely years where the NIU Huskies could beat Northwestern, where NIU could beat the Illini. And that leads me to the third question. Would an NIU versus Illinois rivalry be good for the University of Illinois? And this is where I'm going to feel sick saying this. But the answer is no. Think about this logically. Again, I want to personally say yes because of the love of the sport and what the sport stands for. But this sport is a business. And there's a lot of factors that matter now. Illinois has beaten NIU 4 straight already. Where we are right now is a middle to bottom tier Big Ten school. We're not competing with the top programs in the country yet, or much less even in the conference. What happens if NIU and Illinois play and Illinois beats NIU? You know what happens? In the big picture, nothing. Sure, amongst you and I and our Husky friends, there'll be a lot of fun trash talk in the group chats. Illinois is a Big Ten school. We make a lot of money. NIU is a smaller MAC school. We're supposed to beat NIU. Nothing positive comes, at least for the Illini. But what happens if the Huskies beat the Illini? Now you're talking about an upset that everybody's going to be talking about, not just nationally, but more importantly, in the state. A lot of high school coaches are going to notice that. I don't foresee us being at that level in the near future, especially with what Brett Bielema is building. But are you telling me maybe like this NIU team couldn't beat one of Levy's teams? You're telling me you wouldn't be nervous about that game? So what happens if NIU beats Illinois down the road? That is bad for recruiting. That is very bad for perception. And ultimately, that leads me to think that it's very bad for the University of Illinois. The positives don't even come close to outweighing the negatives. Now, I know there's some states out there which mandate interstate schools to play one another. And if that were the case, I'd be fine with it then. I'd understand that these schools are doing it not just for the rivalry, but the whole idea behind building the economy on those particular weekends. I think that's the excuses some of these states use. I get that. And for that reason, if we were obligated to, I'd be okay with the rivalry. Again, I like rivalries. I think that's what makes college sports different than the professional. But we're not, as of today, bound by any sort of requirement to play other state schools. And for that reason, I wish the Huskies luck from afar, but I have no interest in playing them in the regular season. Are you taking that dream vacation this summer but dreading the cost? With Ibotta, you get cash back on all your purchases, so you can spend more time making memories this summer and less time dreaming about them. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 a year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONCollege when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONCollege. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONCollege. So a lot of you follow me on Twitter, and again, those of you who don't, if you're strictly interested in Illinois content, find me at IliniCast. I talk more sports on a broad level at the Sunny V. But I made a tweet this morning because I received a message this morning in regards to something possibly happening that's unfortunate news. Now, I made the joke that Illini fans, after celebrating that victory over Kansas, just can't sit and be at peace for more than 24 to 48 hours. Now, certain folks got upset that I was very vague with that tweet, and just understand that that's by design. I have to be. Having run the show now for 3.5 months and having run IliniCast for a year, I'm very blessed that a lot of you have built relationships with me where when you hear certain information, you trust me to keep it. And I'm being honest with you. If you take a search on Twitter, on Reddit, on some of these message boards, you can see firsthand what some of these rumors are going to be. I'm not at liberty quite yet to say, but there's another reason. I don't think the rumor's confirmed yet. And it would be very preemptive of me, and in my opinion, irresponsible for me to report on a rumor. But if that's what you come here for, again, I also want to give you guys the options. Take a look. Trust me, the information is available online. And when things become more concrete, or at least my source tells me I'm allowed to say it, and I know they're watching, I will. But just remember that with Illinois, whether it's basketball or whether it's football, we'll always have our ups and downs. But our program has never had two guys at this level as head coaches in a very, very long time. I can't even think of a time in Illinois athletics when we had two guys running the football and men's basketball program that I was this confident with, this satisfied with. So even if sometimes we have to balance the good news with the bad, I think right now we're in the state of Illini athletics where we're hearing a lot more good than bad. Just stay tuned. Thank you for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. Now go check out the Locked On College Football Podcast. From NIL deals to never-ending conference realignment rumors, Spencer McLaughlin gets you ready for an exciting season on the gridiron. You can find the link to Locked On College Football in the description so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On your way out, again, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps me immensely. And let's hit 1,200. We hit 1,100 this past week. Let's hit 1,200 this weekend. Can we do it? I believe in you guys. Let me know. Do you want to see Illinois and the NIU Huskies play an annual series like a lot of other college universities do when it comes to interstate rivalries? We have a lot of content for you this week. Central Michigan coming up, Nebraska the following week. Make sure you stay tuned, hit that notification button. ILL, love you guys.